Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Oh, I'm just glad that
Hi,
we don't have
welcome
Rick on
to-
tonight. I mean, if I have to do another show with Rick, I just don't know what I'm going to do, man. Are we
Is
live?
that right?
Did we go live?
We did, yes.
Oh, you can edit that out, right?
Sure, yes. That's
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. I got us added back in there. So yeah. Thanks, Phil. Anyway, we're live tonight. It is Wednesday, July 31st. Where are we at here?
It feels good to be alive,
Right?
doesn't it?
We're live tonight is what, TFYLP 590, I think, something like that.
590. That's an obscene amount of episodes.
Isn't that crazy? Right?
I feel like it was
I don't know.
just like a month ago that we had 500.
No.
Good God.
No,
And-
it's been a
and
minute.
there's been spin-off shows and all sorts of crap that like doesn't count towards that number. That is just
Right.
that is wild.
Well, we had a nice little weekly news segment that we had that someone did that was like a really nice show. Professionally produced, unlike this. And yeah, like apparently that that's no more. And then
Yes.
we have Rick's playtime. But they haven't had an episode of that for a while, so yeah.
So macrocasters it is.
Yeah, I do want to mention, Phil, that I am really sad. And
That
the
I
reason I'm sad
Broke my
is
promise
because
to not using any racial slurs.
today was the last day that the Royals played the White Sox. We will not have an opportunity to play the White Sox ever again this season.
Oh, it's so bad.
Ever
They're so
again
terrible.
this season.
Yeah.
That was
What's your record this season against the Sox? What is it like? Are you guys like were the Sox like 2-9 against you or something like that?
I don't even know. I'd have to look it up. I just know that every time the Royals would kind of hit like a little bit of a lull and, go on a losing streak, they'd be like,
guys.
thank God we're playing the White Sox.
Well, I'm hearing the prayers of the 5 people watching us, and they really want us to not talk about this. and
Oh,
talk
all
about
right.
something else. They just
Wow.
came right into my earphones. I don't know how that happened, but that was pretty cool.
I mean, the fact that there's only 5 of them means that like who cares what they think? Me and Lucas,
Right.
we run the show.
Well,
Right.
I mean, okay. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you can go from 5 to 1 pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's down
anyway,
to 3 now.
join us next
And I'm
week
one of them.
for Major League Baseball talk as we do that. So, but there was an event last week or weekend or whatever, right? Where I guess there was some news overall with some like pop culture happenings and things, right? That also involved Transformers. Is that right?
But before we get to that, there's an event coming up this weekend, Lucas, that we got some friends that are hosting an event this weekend. So if you got a taste for cool pop culture stuff after this past weekend
Wait,
and
what's
you
this
want to go
weekend?
experience something firsthand, isn't this weekend Sidefest?
Oh, yeah, who we talked to last week, right?
Yeah.
It is this
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, yes.
I would have gone.
Washington.
I'd be there. I'd be there if I wasn't doing something else. I would be first one in line. I'd be hurting people to get that toy. It would be
That
really
Darcy
bad.
toy, like he posted a picture of like all of them spread out on the table, all done, and that is some bubblegum pink goodness right there.
Oh man.
Oh, so there's more. I want to see this.
I didn't see that.
SidefestNW.com.
I think it was the Blue
Sidefest
Forge
Northwest.
page that posted it, and then Sidefest liked it or reshared it.
Let's
Let me
take
see
a look.
here.
If only we could show the audience, like, oh my goodness, look at that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, where is this at?
Oh
The
my
Facha
goodness.
book.
Blue Forge Designs on Facebook.
Oh, okay. I think I see it now. There
Wow,
you go.
That's cool.
Pretty cool. So
Oh,
yes.
such a bummer.
Wow, Zaldron's calling you out, man.
But why?
Zaldron just said there's a reason TF Expo didn't grow.
So why did TF Expo not grow? What was
Damn, Zaldron.
Man,
Look at his setup, like how he put this together. That's really cool. I mean, I've done that before, and it is painful, but it is great when it's finished. Like to be able to take those photos of all the exclusive lined up like that feels real good.
Yeah, there's a very like OCD, like kind of like satisfaction just looking at the rows of the same thing.
I just want
I'm trying to figure out how did they actually get the exclusives done like ahead of the convention?
They were organized enough to do it.
Wait, what? Like that's
Because they
weird.
have one dedicated person just working on the exclusives and not working on the exclusives and the convention and setting up tables and sending out flyers.
We got to get this guy on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got to get this Blue Forge
definitely.
dude on the show, like tonight. Let's like call him in. Just kidding. Let's.
I was gonna say, all right, Paul, you do that. Like,
Yeah,
let
I
me
know.
know.
We got to get him on though, because
Takes
I want to
a
know so much. I want to know everything about how he did this. And those guys, they were great. Like it was great talking to them, but they didn't know all the details of this toy, and that was really. I had so many
I just
questions.
can't believe this guy designed this from like the ground up, right? Like that's.
He just was working with the prototype images. I mean, he had something to go on, but yeah, this is a lot of like, just elbow grease and whatnot going into this thing, man.
He did a really good job, but I mean that. I'm just gonna say what I want to say, which is gonna make some people like clutch their pearls. Like this design sucks. Like this old G1 RC, it's awful. Like I would love to see that now that he has done this. I would love to see his take. Like, how would you do a G1 RC? Like, give it. It still looks like it's from the '80s, but this was not refined. Essentially, like this, they built this and they're like, let's do RC, and someone really early on was probably like, no, we're not going to release this. Like, we don't like it, and so all it ever got to was prototype phase. But I would love to see something that fits the aesthetic a little more of like. I mean, you could argue this does kind of fit the aesthetic of like Blur, but like Hot Rod and Cup. I think it just looks way too goofy. It's still
do you
cool.
remember the first Cyclonus toy? Robot Mode of Cyclonus? That thing is...
Yeah, that thing sucks too.
I mean, goofy as all get out, man. I was about to grab it and I got him in jet mode, so I'm not gonna like upset the shelf and transform it.
Someone can redesign that too. Whatever. He did a great job. I think he can do even better than this, is what I'm saying. Like, I want to pump him up. Be like, okay, you did this. You know you can. Now, do like a good G1 RC. Like, don't be beholden to this like, 80s weird random thing that most of the fandom doesn't even know about. Like, just go for it. Like, if you made a G1 Drift, you wouldn't make it look derpy. You'd make it look cool. And I want to see that. I want to see this guy can do it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just impressed that, you take it from concept or whatever to actual execution of the figure. Like, I mean, that's like, and it's a one-man show essentially doing it. Like, that to me is crazy. Like, I mean, you don't see a lot of that. Like,
No.
Who's done that? There's not a lot of people that do that. So, because like, I don't know. I've known some different designers and stuff, but it's like actually doing the injection molding yourself. Like, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Well, we don't know that's why we need to talk to the guy. I really want to know.
To see how much is like
how
3D printed and versus...
Well, I don't know if any of it is, but did he use like a small pressure, small pressure chamber to do the molding. Like, is it made of resin? Is it made of plastic? I don't know. I don't think
Right.
it's injection molded, but it would be awesome if it was.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. So anyway, who knows?
Yeah, I can't speculate any of that. I know diddly
That-
squat about that.
Nevertheless, if you want to know more about that in the upcoming SciFest Northwest, we did a show last week about that, and you can check that out. But this week's show, we're talking about the San Diego Comic-Con, which occurred in San Diego, California, last weekend. So, with that, were you guys excited for the reveals that happened with Transformers? Were you kind of like just meh, like, you know, didn't think it was that interesting, or, you know, kind of in the middle?
I would say in the middle, maybe with the arrow pointing a little more to the meh side. I mean, the stuff that was new was cool, but just didn't seem like we got that much new stuff.
The Megatron was cool. I thought that was neat.
The Studio Series Transformers 1, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see, because that one wasn't on any lists or anything. You know, that was a nice surprise. I was hoping that would be one of those A-level things that's kind of like the Optimus in the 86 Bumblebee, but it's not. It's coming in a wave at the beginning of the year. So that one might be a little harder to get than the Prime, just because it's a different release.
Well, and it's a deluxe size, though, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So even that, to me, like, kind of tarnishes that toy, because, like, man, if Prime's Voyager and this one's deluxe, that doesn't feel right.
Well, Prime's not. Are you a Transformers fan, Phil?
No,
because that Prime is a deluxe.
Okay, then my bad. Either way, I feel like a deluxe scale Optimus and a deluxe scale Megatron just feels in general a little light.
Well, I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg as far as this stuff goes. I mean, this at the same time that we had SDCC going on, there was also this big event in Asia they had a lot of the same reveals like over there, but they had a lot more stuff too. Like they're calling it leader scale Optimus Prime, but there's this, I don't know, was it Super Command Optimus Prime? It's essentially, well, I would equate it 1-to-1 with that Optimus Primal that came out for Rise of the Beasts that Japan did, the black one.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually probably the best Primal toy of that whole movie, but it kind of got snoozed. This one will probably not be the same story. This looks a little better, like a big, bulky Transformers 1 Optimus Prime. So I think there's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff, and you know, it was really Transformers 1 heavy, but it was easy to ignore that if you don't care. But there was lots of stuff. There was 3-0 toys that are coming out, Flame toy stuff that's coming out, and it's like spitting image of those robots, which honestly I'm kind of already sick of looking at them at this point. I don't love the designs, but if this movie hits the way it's, well, I mean, we're in hype mode, you know. It seems like it might be a big deal. I don't want to like tarnish my reputation saying it's gonna be the greatest, and it totally sucks. It's totally possible.
Did get the second trailer just like the day before San Diego started.
Yeah, and there was a whole.
Is there a reaction video that people can watch, Paul?
I think you did one, didn't you?
Oh, you're right. I think I did. Did someone react to my reaction video, Paul?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
thought it was worth.
So you out there in TFYLP land, go check them out. Leave your comments, like, subscribe. Tell me
filling his kids.
Like why my kids are so ugly. I mean, because they're my DNA, so they are
brutal. I'm not looking at a list. I wish Christian was here because he'd be just rattling off every little thing, right?
Yeah.
What was kind of the most.
The rest of us did not prepare because Christian was supposed to be on the show, but then he was feeling under the weather last minute. So we'll blame him. But
some of the,
was there G.I.
Could
Joe?
someone be
Since
over the
Christian's
weather?
not here, we can talk about G.I. Joe stuff, right?
That was, I think, the reveal I was most excited for. I mean, we had heard that this Cup Triple T Sergeant Slaughter crossover was coming. But this is a nice looking toy.
is it? I don't pay attention to those.
I like it. I one of the things that I have been enjoying about the Transformers G.I. Joe crossovers that, for the most part, except for Bumblebee, they're going with more of the sci-fi kind of looking vehicles. Like Bumblebee was a tricked out dune buggy with some added, firepower and whatnot. But the Hiss tank for Megatron, the Thunder Machine for Soundwave, and now the Triple T tank for Cup. I mean, we're very much in the science fiction space of G.I. Joe, where like early G.I. Joe, it was a lot of more realistic vehicles. Like you had like that looks like a real tank, or like that's just a freaking Apache helicopter, not Apache, but anyways, Black Hawk helicopter kind of looking thing. So to see them doing more of the kind of crazy science fiction type of designs is fun for me. And then I do enjoy the pairing of Cup and Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, some people complain that they didn't think that to have Soundwave and the Dreadnoks pairing up would be a weird combo. Like I think Peter didn't like that, but Cup, the old battle-hardened soldier, pairing up with Sergeant Slaughter and Leatherhead feels appropriate for that pairing. I always get confused if it's Leatherhead or Leatherneck. Now they said I think it's Leatherneck.
I have no idea.
Marines will be upset at me. So if you're a Marine out there, thank you for serving, and please don't find me because I confuse Ninja Turtle villains and G.I. Joe characters.
So Phil, I do want to mention in the chat that there was a reaction to your reaction video, which is that they can't get those 2 minutes back.
I mean, that's fine. It's like The Ring. You have to make other people watch it now.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought the G.I. Joe thing was just. I guess I missed the leak on that because I just literally don't care. But the Kit robot was kind of cool. Although I have one major gripe with it. As cool as it is, why isn't it just Kit? Why is it Agent Knight? This is the Knight Rider crossover I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that seems like really stupid.
What do you?
But I guess
they've had funky names for all of the crossovers.
Yeah, I was gonna say all of them have been Gigatron or Ectotron and
X-Pants.
Right.
X-Pants.
But this car is a character. It already exists. It's not Hasselhoff's fucking Trans Am. It's Kit the car that speaks and interacts with Hasselhoff. So it's a gripe, obviously. I mean, it's still a cool toy. Everyone loves it. I mean, the sound and the lights are pretty cool. I just think it's really lame that they made up some name for this thing and it's not just Kit or even Agent Kit. Something. Because now it's like, did Kit die? Did they kill him by overriding him with this dude? Like it's, Anna would say it's like Transformers body horror or something. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But the toy is cool.
Are you saying this toy is hassling the Hoff?
So you do realize Transformers doesn't own the license to or the copyright to Kit. And so, therefore, they don't want to call their character, like, Kit or whatever, and they'd probably have to pay additional fees or whatever for that, too. I mean, I'm just saying, I realize
Did they not already make a deal with Knight Rider to do this?
I know that, but I'm just saying that that's probably the reason why they're doing it is because this way they can own whatever that character name and all that is.
It's fucking dumb. I don't care. Like I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's a mistake.
I mean, they have to do a repaint of this.
Do they?
They got a new car.
But it wouldn't be car, Phil. It would be shithead bad guy.
But do you
That would
know
be what they'd call
who
it.
voiced Carr, aka Shithead Bad Guy?
No, but I'm sure that it won't matter.
Does matter, Paul.
Oh, it does? What
Does
is it?
matter.
What is
Peter
it?
Cullen.
So what is it going to be? Optimus Prime, the bad guy? Car?
I'm just saying, you have a Transformer tie-in, a distinct Transformer tie-in.
I don't see how this has any relation to what I'm complaining about.
It doesn't. It's just saying you got to do the repaint, and you got to have a car, and you got to get some Peter Cullen little voices in there.
I didn't watch that show enough. Does it have a red light that goes across as well? Is it alive, or is it just the bad guys? Like,
no, it's alive. That's why it's got the Peter Cullen voice, because it's alive.
I do want to ask, like, is this the first Hasbro toy that has lights and sound since when the heck was the last Hasbro toy? And I realize this is not the cast that I need for this. Like, I need Peter here to answer that question, but like Hasbro, I mean, I realize Takara has put out some, like MP Megatron, for example, right? I mean, the Optimus.
If you step out of the MP realm, if you step out of the mainline realm, then a lot of the kid-friendly stuff has got that.
Does it? Lights and sounds, really?
I mean, I definitely remember Cyberverse toys that had it.
Okay, fair enough. See, I just don't know enough about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as common in the main line, not since, like, I want to say, like, Unicron Trilogy was the last time I remember that stuff being more common. Or no, even Animated had some lights and sounds, right? I mean, at least sounds with Ultra Magnus and Megatron. Did Bulkhead have lights and sounds? The big old Bulkhead with the headmaster? Whatever.
I'm saying that was all like close to 20 years ago now at this point. So
stop making me feel old, Lucas. You and your barely graying beard, me and my white cocaine-filled beard.
So, I don't know. I'm super excited for the Knight Rider one, though, because I don't know. I think it's one that we've been wanting since they announced crossovers, right? When we've done some of those speculation episodes and saying, hey, what would you like to see, right? Like, I think a Batmobile and a kit are probably the, like, two of the top ones, maybe like an A-Team van. And I feel like we're stepping that much closer to that. Like, I would guess an A-Team van is inevitable, right? Like, it's going to happen at some point. I don't know about the Batmobile. That seems like that could potentially not happen, but
I definitely think with the Knight Rider car being out there, because to me, when you look at some of the earlier ones with like Gigatron and Ectotron, you had 80s properties, but like Ectotron, there was new Ghostbuster movies coming out. Back to the Future, granted they haven't done anything new with Back to the Future in like 30 years. I think the last new thing they did was maybe the cartoon. But that was still a property that had 3 movies and had a lot of sort of carryover into modern pop culture. Knight Rider is very, very 80s. Like, Knight Rider, that's not a show that, like, I'm going to be like, all right, son, sit down and watch this. This is cool. Like, it feels very dated because it's live action, and it doesn't feel like it holds up well in today's modern times. And we haven't gotten really a modern take on it. So the reason I'm saying all this is, like, you could say a lot of the same thing about the A-Team. I get it. They've done other A-Team updates and movies and stuff since then, but like, to do the classic A-Team van, you're really hitting hard on that 80s crowd, which is pretty much the same audience that the Knight Rider, fandom is made up of. So I'm agreeing with you, Lucas, and I'm adding more color to that.
Which is why I think that they're going to do an A-Team van at some point, just because Knight Rider, it's the same kind of thing, and if it sells well and
Yeah.
whatever. But
And what kind of van was the 18? Was that a Chevy van? Because that's the other side of it, is that these are licensed cars, and so to have the GM give their stamp for the Knight Rider car for Kit, you'd have to have the same thing likely for an 18 van.
yeah.
Not doesn't have to be the case, but I think almost all of these crossover cars have been licensed. Even the Lockheed, even X-Pants had a Lockheed Martin logo on the box.
So yeah, I don't know. That was cool. And then yeah, like you said, Paul, there was a lot of Transformers 1 coverage there at the show. I mean, there were I saw a panel, I think wasn't like Chris Hemsworth and all those guys, whatever, the Keegan Peele or whatever, that he was
Keegan Michael Key.
Or Key, yeah, sorry. That they were discussing the movie and all that too, so.
Now, was that in Hall H, or was that in one of the smaller panel rooms?
I don't know.
Looked
I
pretty
saw a
big.
live interview, but I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because like for Chris Helmsworth to not be in Hall H, I feel like for him it would be like, get the big room. Why am I in the smaller room? There's another part of this, convention hall that I have to walk to, because he's pretty much Hall H staple with all the Marvel stuff. Yeah, I got to go back and watch that. Like with everything going on, I did not watch the any of the panel stuff or interviews with the Transformers 1 cast.
Yeah, there was kind of too much happening. I watched little bits of it. It seemed like the crowd really liked it, but the big aftermath. Can you hear me? Keep saying my speaker's muted.
No,
No, you're
I
good.
can hear you.
I mean, I paid more attention to the aftermath of this, and like, without fail, it's the same old shit every time. Lorenzo's like, it's all in the same universe, guys. Don't you worry. And then the director's like, no, they are different. And like, there's this stupid dissonance, and like, the fans are going crazy about it. Like, well, the children are. They're like, how dare Lorenzo? Down with Lorenzo.
Can we talk about Lorenzo like towards the end of this? Because there was some stuff that like came out in the news with him that's pretty interesting.
Was that new? I thought that was an old news.
I don't know. I didn't read about it till like this weekend / the other day. In terms of who was the director of Rise of the Beast?
Cooley? Was that him? Something?
No, that's not his.
Is that the new one?
It is the newer guy. I mean, but
Well, it was the guy that did Rise of the Beast.
Yeah, Rise of the Beast. Like he like news came out that like, oh, he's directing I Am Legend 2. And it's like, well, why is he directing I Am Legend 2? Isn't he supposed to be Stephen Cable? I want to say Cable,
Stephen
and I knew that was
Cable
right.
Jr.
Right.
So who?
Yeah, Stephen Cable Jr. So Stephen Cable Jr. was like, there was talks like, okay, they've set up this whole spoiler alert for Rise of the Beast. If you haven't seen it a year later, loser. G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie that's going to happen, and Stephen Cable Jr. was kind of in line to work on that. And then like it's like, oh, I'm directing an I Am Legend 2, which is also kind of weird. It's like, why is there an I Am Legend 2 like some 40 years later? And it's like, well, why is he directing I Am Legend 2? I thought he was going to be doing more of this stuff for Paramount and Transformers, and like it turns out he and Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, Mr. Crazy Scarf Guy, like they butted heads. And supposedly Bonaventura said things along the lines of like, hey, you're lucky to be attached to this. You're this young director, and you're lucky to be a part of this big franchise. And then allegedly with big flashing lights, allegedly, Bonaventura said some stuff that could have been racially coded. There's different sort of sentiments around that. And Cable Jr. is no longer Cable Jr. He's not an X-Man. Cable Jr. is no longer attached to Transformers or Transformers G.I. Joe. and Bo Ventura said, like, they haven't quite figured out how to make Transformers G.I. Joe work yet. Like, they don't have the keystone to really sync it up. Was some news that came out. I don't know if that was during San Diego or like in the few days after San Diego, but it was salacious.
I mean, none of this is shocking at all, is it? Like, this is like, oh, figured that happened. You know, like, what the hell? I mean, the guy made a good movie, and he did tons of press for it, tons of it. Probably spent like a month making little snippets and videos and crap to try to promote his movie. And you can tell that he got railroaded. Like, they ripped it apart and shit it back out and pieced it together and added stuff to it. That's why it doesn't make any sense. You know, like, was the beginning of the movie in the future or the past or what? It doesn't matter. It's just time and space, right? Like, nothing. I am not shocked in the least that he had a bad experience. And so, yeah, why would you go through that again? And yeah, this is par for the course in Hollywood, is they get these like talented but like hungry directors and they just put them through the ringer, and then they either come out the other end like, you know, stronger for it or just jaded. And I think he came out jaded.
Yeah, I mean, you have these producers like D-Ball Ventura that are these sort of IP custodians is one way to kind of think about it. And I think they're trying to look at these things through the long-term lens of what to do with the IP. And so it's the old sports adage of the general manager's trying to plan for the next 5 years or the next 10 years, and the coach is trying to win today. The director's trying to make a good movie right now, and these producers that are kind of in charge of the IP, they're trying to, you know, manage and maintain the IP for the next 20, 30 years. So, those can be headbutting.
And they're really bad at it. They're really, really bad at it.
Right, I was gonna
they don't have a foresight that lasts past one movie. You can see that every time they release one.
I mean, D-Bomb,
but their foresight is like to make money. It's not necessarily to tell a good story. It's to make money.
Right.
I mean, he's been such a great steward of the brand. I'll say, whatever, D-Bomb Ventura, whatever the heck his name is.
I mean, he's made Paramount and his production company truckloads of money. So from that standpoint, again, you have, coming back to the sports thing, it's like you have certain sports franchises that are like, yeah, you know what? People are still coming through the turnstile, so who cares if we're not making the playoffs or barely make the playoffs? You know, as long as the turnstile's still spinning.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I never heard his name until more recent years. Like, you always heard Michael Bay. Was he pretty much like the right hand of Michael Bay kind of deal with like the movies back in the day, or what?
I think he's just like the through line from it all. I think because Michael Bay is no longer like directly involved in this, D-Ball Ventura is the through line from 2007 till here we are 14 years later, 2024, and we got another movie coming out. I if I'm wrong, please correct me on that. But just acknowledge that I'm right and just deal with it. No, I might be wrong. I'm not Peter. I don't have all this like.
Sounds right. I just wish that Spielberg was, a little younger and cared.
D-Bob Ventura did a great job with Madam Web.
Oh my God.
No, I mean, I when that movie tanks away, I was kind of like, ooh, maybe this is our chance to get rid of this guy. But one wrong doesn't.
He's very entrenched.
I feel like I need to look this guy up on IMDb now, because.
Are you gonna try and friend him on LinkedIn?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I mean, should we? It's not really relevant, but should we talk about the Robert Downey Jr. thing?
Yeah. Just because he's cosplaying as a robot doesn't make him a robot.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if we could get Shia back. Honestly, that'd be great if they pulled someone out in an Optimus Prime mask and it's Shia LaBeouf. Like they do that same sort of stunt for Transformers. They never will. It's not a big enough brand, but
No, but I think you're right. Like that would be a cool thing to see him come back as a little bit older, more seasoned actor. Obviously there is a ton of folks who Shia LaBeouf was their window into the Transformers universe, through the first, 3 Transformers movies he was in. So it's definitely one of those things that I think that would get a big pop at a San Diego Comic-Con kind of thing, especially depending upon the age group you had in there.
it would be awesome. There's nothing I want more than Shia LaBeouf to come to a BotCon or something like that. I just think that's just a level too big,
Oh, yeah.
Nope, we're not going to get Chris Hemsworth at a TFCon or a best chances at TFCon LA. Best chance.
Right.
I mean, pretty much starting with 2007, we crossed the line that a good chunk of the talent involved in these movies and the cartoons will not show up at a Transformers convention. Now, granted, there's definitely some that have been. You had a lot of the folks from the Netflix series at TFCon LA. You've had a lot of folks from the Earthrise series at TFCon LA. But, there are some, bigger Hollywood actors. Like, would Alan Tudyk show up at a Transformers convention? He does a lot of con stuff. As a maybe. I'm not saying no, maybe. But that would be a little bit more of a stretch.
I mean, Judd Nelson was at a BotCon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that was really Judd Nelson, though.
Yeah. I mean, Judd Nelson, he's not as well booked as Alan Tudyk is. Alan Tudyk is like freaking everywhere.
Right. But when you're talking about Shia LaBeouf, like, what the hell is that guy doing?
I don't know. That's why I think it's not impossible, because he's done some weird stuff. Like, I could see him deciding one day, like, I'm just gonna go do it. I just want to see the people, and then like getting in fights with people at the show. Like, it would be the best.
Maybe
would only happen once.
Mark.
Would only happen once.
See, again, another one that I think would never step foot in a convention would be Marky Mark.
You could maybe get T.J. Miller. I could see him potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
It might be. Maybe John Turturro would come. Maybe that's probably
he's
still
got
pushing
too much
it.
artistic integrity.
Yeah, he probably does. But I think he might do it for fun. He did so many of those movies. Anyways, why we probably shouldn't be talking about this. We're waxing poetic about something that's never going to happen.
But I think we're talking about cons and we're talking about San Diego, and like that's the thing with San Diego. It's like San Diego is this giant beast unto itself that like you have these panels and you have like the chance to like get autographs with some of these people that are just like ultra mega stars. And yeah, the Transformers property has had, ultra megastars involved in it since the Michael Bay movies in 2007. So it is sort of interesting to see, like, will we ever get these ultra megastars to kind of slum it with us? And so I don't know. I'm more towards the lines of no, but what do I know? Who's to say what could happen in the future? But I know it's been 14 years since I was at a San Diego Comic-Con. I was there in 2010. I know Paul's been to at least one, and he just jumped off screen. I don't know what just happened to him. He's back. But he doesn't have his headphones on, so he can't hear me talking about how Paul's been to at least one San Diego. Paul, how many San Diegos have you been to?
Just the one. I went with Sabertron and Robbie Musso, and it was awesome. It was the year that they did the Transformers party, and Vince DiCola, they brought Unicron, the prototype, to this bar, and like they broke it. They broke it in the back, and it was just bedlam ensued. And there were people walking around in giant Transformer outfits, and then Vince DiCola, and it wasn't Stan Bush. No, it was like Vince DiCola's band. And he did like the whole soundtrack to the Transformers movie, and it was fucking crazy. It was the greatest Transformers.
What Grimlock was there? You were partying with him?
Yeah, Greg Berger was there. Paul Eiding was there, and at the time, I had just left a company that I had started, and they were wearing the shirts from my company, which was pretty cool. So I got to talk with them, just like regular dudes. Yeah, it was, and when they broke the Unicron prototype, there was a lot of
you canceled all your pre-orders.
No, it just the Hasbro staff was like, like I'm getting fired when I get home, kind of thing. It was super awesome. So sorry to talk about that for so long, but yeah, I've only been there once, and it is a slog. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend San Diego. It is like, if you've ever been to a convention and been like, there's too many people here, and you just like start to get annoyed because you can't do anything. It's kind of like a concert where everyone's trying to get to the front of the stage, but no one's moving.
And I'm not talking about a concert where there's seats. This is like a concert where there's just general admission, no chairs.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, everyone wants to. The best part about it is like after the show when there's like the whole downtown is like open till 4 a.m. and everyone's partying and dressed up in cosplay and stuff, and that's really fun if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, the Gaslamp district is like packed to the gills with people. But yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. Like, San Diego is such a beast unto itself. I mean, I went, like I said, 2010. So my experience with San Diego in 2010 was the year that Transformers Prime was coming out through Hub. So, like, as I'm walking up to the convention, I think I was there Thursday and Friday. Like, outside the convention hall, they had a life-size Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime. And it was like, holy crap. And so that was the first time I was in a room with Peter Cullen. He spoke at a Transformers Prime panel. Like, we saw the first design pictures of RC and Ratchet and Bulkhead and the rest of the crew, and so that was really fun. Like, I was outside, like, waiting for a cab to go back to my hotel, and look behind me, and the guy standing in line behind me for a cab was Patton Oswalt. San Diego is just like such. It's gotten bigger, like, in the last 14 years since I've been there. And Paul, I'm sure you can speak to that a bit. But it's just like such this like mega entity that spills out from just the convention center. Like, the convention center itself can't even contain all of it because there's so much going on. And sometimes, like, it's kind of interesting in the last couple of years. COVID kind of affected it, but there was like years pre-COVID where you would get these like bombardments of Transformer releases pre-San Diego because they knew like San Diego itself would just swallow everything in terms of news. Like, you'd have all the Hall H, and when I say Hall H, for those folks who aren't like, know what I'm talking about, Hall H is the giant room, the giant panel room they have at San Diego Comic-Con, at San Diego Convention Center, where they do all the giant movie announcements. So if you saw all the stuff with like Robert Downey Jr. and Dr. Doom and all that, that's all in Hall H. So Hall H kind of acts like this like information black hole because there's so much big announcements that come from that Marvel and DC, like, they'll do a lot of announcements pre-San Diego Comic-Con, and Hasbro had started doing that too. And now that we're kind of post-COVID, everything's kind of ratcheting back up a little bit. So everyone's kind of trying to find their footing. So, like, Hasbro had, from an outsider, what felt like a pretty big presence at San Diego. You had a new HasLab announced for G.I. Joe. They had, like, some sort of area where they were doing live YouTube broadcasts with, like, talking to designers. You had, dudes that flew in from Japan, designers. And Lucas, what did we get from one of those Japanese designers when he was talking about the new Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime? What did he call it?
Oh, a mini masterpiece? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm pretty certain those were the words I heard. Paul, did you hear that? Did you hear that from one of the Transformers designers?
I didn't watch this shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
but yeah, that's what he said.
I shared it in the
that's what he said.
Chat because I made sure to clip that clip that the mainline Commander series is in fact a mini masterpiece.
Great.
You had both a Hasbro and Takara designer saying that, so it's yes. Canon.
Yep.
Someone update the wiki.
Well, I do have kind of a list of things that were released or revealed around the same time. We haven't talked about a lot of them.
Yeah,
So,
I will
do
say
it.
before we go into that, one thing that I
Book
was
club.
somewhat surprised about was how many releases that they had in the portal that were like, oh hey, this was an exclusive before, like it's coming out in mainline now. Like I feel like half of the releases coming out, like in the next year, are just going to be re-releases of the exclusives. Which is that something we've really seen that much of before?
Well, but again, this is not news. We knew this 6 months ago.
Right.
That this was what this wave was going to be. Just FYI, like this is not like holy shit, the world's on fire. It's all it does is confirm what we already expected.
And that's why I feel like sort of meh about the news we got specifically for Transformers out of San Diego. Like as a mainline Transformer toy collector, there was not a lot of things shown off and like, oh crap, I gotta order this.
I'm gonna remind you right now of some things. Dino King.
Right, Dino King.
Dino King
I forgot about
dropped
Dino King. That's
like
right.
a bomb, and there was so much other stuff that came after it, everyone kind of forgot. But
I
this,
did. I literally forgot until you just mentioned it.
yeah, it looks awesome. I mean, we all knew it was coming. It was like, everyone's like, well, obviously, that is going to be a Dino King pre-tool. Those Dinobots. We heard it a million times from every dipshit on Facebook. But seeing it and the way they're doing it, man, it's good. It looks awesome. You don't like it?
What?
I don't like it.
You're insane. You're insane.
Keep your opinion to yourself, Phil.
Here's my thing.
It has a
Here's
sickle.
my thing with Dino King. Here's my biggest problem with Dino King, and that is the slag head on the chest. Dino King should not have 3 horns on his chest. He should have 1 horn on the chest. And the fact that the Dino modes were almost 100% straight Dinobots, repainted, recolored, whatever you want to call it, that frustrated me. I wanted to see these just a little more retooling, especially the chest, which is to me like one of the more iconic components of Dino King. They gave him a new head. I'm very happy to see that. But like the fact that it is the Triceratops head on the chest and not more the unicorn monster that Dino King / Monstructor has, it just irks me.
Listen,
I know I'm gonna get it.
dude.
I'm picking at nits, but
I'm looking at the artwork for this guy, like the original G1. He has 3 horns on his chest. So I don't know what you're so mad about.
maybe I got to look at it again. I could have sworn
Maybe
it's just a 1-horn beast.
Well, the animation is a little different than the box art. Yeah, because just look at the wiki and you'll see. Like I see what you're saying. It's not.
Yeah, and I'm. Using
But he does
the
have 3
third-party version.
protruding things in the toy, so it's not that bad.
I know, and like the colors are right, the head is right. There's a lot of things that are right about it. I'll get it. I've got the Volcanicus. Like I bought my youngest son for Christmas all 6 of the Dinobots to make Volcanicus. It's a fun little combiner. I think this is like in terms of like Dino King / Monstructor being like a small combiner. This is a good, kind of homage to that. I'm excited for this. I like that it's a Pulse exclusive. So and I can. That's an interesting thing I want to talk about later on in this episode. As we talk about like why was San Diego meh versus all right PulseCon being a thing. And I think that's we can talk about that separately in a little bit.
Well, I think this, it's annoying that they're these little core guys, right? But if you've ever seen the original source of these things, they totally suck. Like way worse than this. This is a million times better. This is incredible. Sure, they should all be deluxes or something like that, But like this is the first step. In 15 years, when I'm in a wheelchair, maybe I'll get a deluxe scaled, limb Dino King. But
when
I
the
don't
Beatus
even,
is taking your foot.
When the what?
When the Beatus is taking your foot.
Oh, the beat. It'll take a lot more than that. I wasn't expecting all the extra weapons. I wasn't expecting the colors, the extra feet. I've seen some people mad about the feet. They're like, well, my Volcanicus isn't complete. I'm like, well, it is actually. It doesn't have feet. doesn't have feet, asshole. Don't worry about it. They come in this.
Ryan.
Buy an extra one of these if you want. Yeah, I mean, it could have been remolded a little bit, sure. But like when I look at the photos of like the robot modes and stuff, like I do not see the Dinobots at all. I see, except maybe Swoop. Swoop's the one that's like the most like, oh, that looks like a white and blue Swoop. But the rest of them, I just think it looks great.
But what mode are you going to put this guy in?
Well, I'm not going to put him in any mode. But I guess you'd combine them, right? Wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Most collectors are going to keep this guy in the combined Dino King mode. And again, just the chest, the focal point is just not quite right. I'll get it. I'm sure I'll like it, but it's going to irk me a bit.
You'll be okay.
I know. I'll live.
We had to talk about Dino King because that was a huge drop. Because I think everyone kind of just forgot about it. Like, oh, yeah, they're never going to do it or something. And then boom.
Yeah, because we were getting worried. I think we had talked in a few episodes back. Like, where's Dino King? When are we going to get Dino King? Why isn't Dino King part of the San Diego Comic-Con, like, exclusive set? And, like, we haven't even talked about the exclusive set tonight.
Which, I mean, it's just the Optimus versus Megatron, right? Or the Orion Pax and...
Yeah, like a heavily retooled War for Cybertron Optimus and a very repainted minor Megatron, Gladiator Megatron.
I mean, I, for one, am super excited to get another repaint of the Siege Megatron mold. I didn't have enough of them, so there we are.
Now, while this is not specifically Transformers, it is Transformers Titan. That is the Death's Head Marvel Legends. That is something a lot of folks are excited for.
No, see, that's cool because we've needed that for a while, and that's clearly a Transformers thing. I mean, like, only Transformers fans are buying that.
You know what's interesting, though, is the packaging they did is the Marvel cards wave to, like, Marvel cards, like, what, like 92? The second set of Marvel cards is his packaging. So, like, they are trying to go after some of the Marvel nostalgia folks, and I'm sure like they knew they could double dip with this in terms of Transformers fandom and Marvel fandom.
Well, I think what we're seeing here is like a first step of like what next year might look like with the Energon universe stuff. Because they could do a toy from each toy line that all goes together. They could have a G.I. Joe exclusive, a Transformer one, and I guess not Marvel. The Death's Head in Star Wars was pretty good. But they'll probably have like a Void Rivals thing. I think we've already seen a leak for that, actually.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that supposed to be something that was going to come out in San Diego? Was a Void Rivals?
I think it's next year. I think it's next year.
Is it next year? Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, lots of things can change between then and now. But I just, imagine how much...
All those people?
They can synergize a little bit in a way that they've tried in the past, which is kind of fell flat. Like that whole, what was it? The Family set, the Jetfire and Friends or whatever.
the one, oh God, I'm forgetting the name of the toy line now. The hologram guys.
Visionaries or something.
The Visionaries, the one Visionary toy. Like, if you were a Visionary fan, you're like, it's coming back. It's making a comeback. You're like, no, this is it. This is all you get. This is the one Visionary toy. There was another robot announced for Marvel Legends, and that's a new ROM toy. New ROM Marvel Legends.
Yeah, I feel like that's something Transformers fans will get as well.
Yeah, I won't, but,
It looks pretty cool. It looks like ROM.
It looks like ROM. I don't think ROM looks that great.
ROM's not cool. But let's see. We essentially were, I was trying to kind of lead us towards Energon Universe, some stuff we should probably talk about. Daniel Warren Johnson. I always call him Darren. DWJ got a pretty prestigious award, which was applied to by tangentially Transformers got the award as well. What is it, Phil?
Daniel Warren Johnson won the Eisner Award for Best Writer/Artist for the year, and Transformers: The Skybound book won the award for Best Ongoing Title. And with Daniel Warren Johnson writing that book and doing the art for the first 6 issues, like those are big awards for that guy. And that is, and if you want to kind of talk about going back to this idea of like Transformers now having like megastars in terms of like voice actors and actors involved in it, we have megastars from the comic book world involved in the Transformers comic. So between Kirkman, who has been involved with Void Rivals and it's his property Skybound, our publishing house Skybound, and then now Daniel Warren Johnson, who has already had tremendous acclaim, getting even more acclaim for the book that's of the property that we love. Like it's like if you're in the fan base that doesn't like the new Transformers book or doesn't like Daniel Warren Johnson art, like this is clear data to say you're wrong.
Agreed. I mean, it really is. There's been a lot of, I don't know. There's just been a flippant like disregard for the story, and a lot of it has to do with the art. Like I don't know what turns people off about the art. There's some covers that I feel like are rushed and maybe aren't as great as I think they could have been. Like they're super dark, but as a cohesive unit, they all look really good. So, and I see a lot of this guy's artwork, and I'm pretty impressed. Like I'm super impressed. I think it's amazing. So I mean, especially his commissions. I don't know if you saw many of those, like his things he did at the show to like give to people that people commissioned him for. Man, they looked amazing.
Yeah, they do.
Like they were all like front to back, drawings on the comic books and stuff.
You will look like pre-Optimus, like you will look like Optimus Prime pre-grabbing Megatron's arm to get yourself one of those commissions. I.e., it'll cost you your right arm to get yourself a Daniel Warren Johnson commission at this point in time, because that dude is upper echelon, and he is, with one of the top tier, like kind of artist representative companies out there, Felix Fine Art, and like they know they're managing Daniel Warren Johnson as like this dude is cream of the crop right now, and he is going to cost you an arm and a leg to get a piece of artwork. So I was he's a wrestling fan, and that is one of the things that some people don't like about his artwork is that he throws in wrestling moves into the artwork. And so he lives in Chicago. I was at a wrestling event a couple weeks ago and saw Daniel Warren Johnson there, had a good feeling I'd see him there, so I got a selfie with him. And I've seen him at C2E2 a few times as well. Just a super nice guy, like just a super down to earth dude. He's not a prima donna by any stretch of the imagination. He really does enjoy this. And for those folks who are like, oh, he doesn't like know all the lore past G1, like, man, this guy really does enjoy this stuff. So I mean, it's award winning. It's more attention, more acclaim for the property we like, and the property some of us really love. And if you're not like happy for this dude and happy for that book, then man, maybe you're just a troll. That's my point.
I don't know. I mean, I am somewhat surprised that he won awards for it, because like, I mean, I think it's good, but I don't think it's been something where I'm like, oh my god, this is the best comic of the year.
Well, what is then, Mr. Lucas?
I don't know. I don't read enough comics, but I just assume. So
Lucas's bar is set so high.
Right.
If it's not Mouse or Watchmen, damn it, I'm not gonna read it.
The last IDW stuff. That's where, I mean, obviously it's such a change from IDW to the new stuff that just takes a little getting used to.
I mean, you're comparing it still. You're in the small pond of Transformers comics.
I know.
This guy won against every other creative endeavor that is in a comic book or graphic novel setting in the past year with Transformers,
I wouldn't say that, because there are specific categories for graphic novel.
Okay.
So
I don't know what I'm talking about.
In terms of ongoing series, he was up there against some Marvel and DC heavy hitters, and he won. And you could argue, like, is he the best writer? Is he the best artist? He is the best artist-writer combo, is what the Eisner Award Committee said. And so it is, again, very prestigious, and it is for a thing that we love and a thing that he also loves. So I'm very much on board for the ride that he's been taking us on. I've said that since day one. I said that since day -1. Like when we first started hearing rumors of like people we knew telling us like, hey, I think this guy might be on this book, don't tell anyone. I was like, holy crap, this is going to be great. And I've not been let down in any way, shape, or form.
I think it's great. And he's going to be on it for 2 years, right? He's going to be done on issue 24, I think, done writing.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got, other artists coming on board now. So we've got the third artist is Jason Howard that's coming on to do some of the pencils for it. Who's another guy that's a big Kirkman buddy. Super Dinosaur was one of the books he did. Jason Howard did a lot of the covers where it's just the one single transformer on the front issue, on the front cover. I'm sorry, of the issue, where it's like the Autobot stand on the Autobot logo or the Decepticon stand on the Decepticon logo. He will be doing the interior artwork coming up here for the most recently solicited issue. So, he's I think one of his books that he'd done before was called Super Dinosaur. If I'm misremembering that, I apologize.
He did the Energon special.
Yeah, he worked on that.
At least the Transformers part of that. Which I mean, he's great. I really like this Jorge guy, Corona.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to lose him. But I guess, people, I don't know much about comics. I thought someone's on it forever, but they like to move around and, get their different books. And
it also helps with deadlines. Like if you have someone do like a 4 or 6 issue story, you can get them working on that way ahead of time to make sure a deadline is met. Because that was something that for a long time, like artists, you have a hard time with artists like meeting the deadline. For an artist to draw a 22 issue comic book every month is like they gotta get through a page a day, per work day, and that's not easy for some of these folks to do. And then sometimes you get done with the page, you send it to the editor, and the editor's like, you got to redo these 2 panels here, and it's like now you're behind. So to combat that, you'll have an artist on a book for 4, 5, 6 issues, and then you can have the next artist kind of start as the writer's getting the book done. You can have the next artist that get a little bit of a head start, so that way the book doesn't miss shipping times. On your inside baseball.
Well, there's lots more toys to talk about. I don't know how long we've been doing this. An hour? We're an hour in?
Yeah, we're an hour in, Paul.
Well, let's go back to Japan for a minute. Why don't we?
I was going to say,
let's go to
like
Japan.
most of the interesting reveals happen there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
What do we got,
Missing
Paul?
Link. Missing Link is back, baby! We got Sentinel Prime.
Wait,
which
hold
is
on.
the
There was
craziest
a repaint?
release. Yeah. You didn't see
repaint.
this? I can't tell if you're fucking with me or what. There is this crazy Sentinel Prime repaint. I knew it would be weird. I just didn't think it'd be this weird. It is essentially like a bright, pale orange G1 Optimus Prime.
It's kind of optimal Optimus colors.
I wouldn't say that, but it's based on, and I remember this clear as day from the first episode of Transformers. It's the truck that the Sky Spy scans for Optimus Prime's new alt mode. And I've always been like, oh, it's an orange Optimus. He's not red, he's orange. And they're totally, it's supposed to be that truck. I mean, whatever. That's the thing that they're homaging, which I think is really, quaint. But this is just going to be one of those weird Optimus Prime recolors that will only happen once. And, you should probably get it if you're even curious. So that was really exciting to me. I mean, we knew that was coming. That kind of got leaked, but it was like, well, what is G1 Sentinel Prime going to be if it's a, redeco of? of the Missing Link Optimus. So maybe there'll be some more surprises even. Like, what's Roller going to look like? What's the Battle Bay? Was they going to do anything interesting inside the trailer? We don't know. On top of that, we have these are all like Japanese exclusives. So I don't know if they're going to be at shows or at events or what. But there was Starscream Super Mode. So the Armada, the blue Thundercracker-looking Starscream from Armada will be a Japanese exclusive. It's not Thundercracker, so don't call it that.
The legacy version of Armada Starscream.
The Voyager, which is debatably not the greatest toy. Like I've seen kind of mixed bag, but this I always love this deco. It's cool to see. And another big one is the Nemesis Prime version of the Rise of the Beast Optimus Studio Series toy, which is already a contentious toy because it was that buzzworthy Bumblebee figure. But now it's black, and it's another Japanese exclusive. It's 40th anniversary Nemesis Prime.
And then we got
a chair. A gray chair. Let's not even talk about that.
And then we also had dropped last week in Pulse the Shattered Glass MP Skyfire and the Shattered Glass MP 44. So we got a lot last week.
Oh, we're going back that far. There's more than that. There's a recolor of Bumblebee from the Masterpiece movie series. There's that yellow one.
Oh yeah.
The really, really bright yellow MPMB. Bumblebee, I mean, and the what was the last thing? The Adamus Machina Rodimus, which don't snooze on that. That's gonna be. I think the price on that is crazy, like crazy low. I thought it was gonna be like $600. I'm really glad it's not.
Well, shoot, the flame toys of that, this non-transforming is twice that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, maybe the build quality is quite a bit higher and the run is lower, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that, because I don't think anyone cares right now because they don't know what to expect from it. Right. But they already announced what the second one is after Rodimus, and it's Predaking. So what the hell is that going to be?
Right. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Is that going to be a single figure? Is it going to be 5 figures? Like, it's just sort of bizarre. There's a lot of Wild West stuff going on right now, and we kind of need to wait and see.
Right.
Of all those weird Japanese things, there's one that did not get put on Pulse. Actually, the Masterpiece movie Bumblebee isn't yet, but that Bingo Sports Optimus Prime, the car. Like the Corvette Optimus Prime has not been released or been made available on Pulse yet, which I wonder if that's different because it's like a crossover with a racing company in Japan. Any thoughts? I don't know.
Heck if I know. That is a weird sort of niche branding thing that I know diddly squat about.
Yeah.
I know one of the other reveals that just happened, right, was with Lio Convoy, right?
Yeah, that was like today or yesterday, right?
Yeah, another Japanese one.
I know Christian was a little upset about that because he's like, that's the one I actually wanted. Like, why did I have to buy this other one that I didn't want? But, I mean, that happens so often now, right?
Yep.
That it's just it's just par for the course.
Why wouldn't you just be happy? Like, oh, the thing I wanted. Yay.
Right.
Yay.
True.
I mean, I get where he's coming from. There's a lot of sentiment of bait and switch. So
welcome to toy collecting.
I know. I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like we've been dealing with this for forever. As Peter said, incremental improvement.
Yeah.
It does look better, though. It looks... I couldn't tell if it was the Masterpiece or what, but it's definitely that derpy... They took that, like, weird, long horse face they had put on the lion, and they made it look like a real lion.
No, they didn't make it look like a real lion. They made it look like the cartoon thing.
Okay, there you go. Well, the other one, it looked like the skull of a lion or something. It was just It was
Yeah,
really
no,
a
it was
bad
odd
design.
looking. Like neither one is like a toy that I really want to have. The only reason I have the first Legacy Optimus Primal is like I got it for like dirt cheap off of Bullseye Bullseye Express on eBay. It's like missing parts and it was open, and they ended up refunding me and gave me, said keep the toy. But yeah, that I don't think I would have gone and bought that unless it was on deep clearance, which it was. Primal's not my shtick. That's fine. I don't dislike it. It's just.
You mean Leo Prime?
Leo Prime. Yeah, sorry. Leo Convoy.
Well, I think that's it for Japan.
Yeah, I mean, in America, we did get, we had some stuff drop on Pulse yesterday. We had the new Studio Series Megatron from Transformers 1 that we talked about. We had a new Studio Series Gamer vs. Ratchet from the War for Cybertron, game. So, which means we'll likely get an Ironhide in the pretty near future. I'm blanking on some of the other ones that came out yesterday on Pulse up for sale. Just jump onto my little handheld computer device here and take a look-see. Oh, yeah, they're doing a single, if you like that Transformers reactivates Bumblebee, you can buy it not in the 2-pack anymore without the Starscream.
Well, there's more to it than that. It is a redeco for sure, and they're saying it's a deluxe. It's actually a pretty big deluxe.
Yeah.
From what we're used to. So it's kind of like old school. And it doesn't have the asymmetric, like black deco stuff that was on the 2-pack one. So my assumption is all 4 of those are going to be released via Studio Series. And this is significant because it's still Gamer Edition, but now it's like, oh, but it's not War for Cybertron. Everything now has been, everything up to 9 has been a Gamer Edition that is of War for Cybertron or Fall of Cybertron. This is now the first reactivate thing, which is so funny because the game isn't even out.
No, but like what's interesting too, to your point, Paul, is that
this opens the door.
Soundwave and Optimus did not have that like kind of extra paint on there for like the digital shadowing effect. That was just Starscream and Bumblebee, I think. I mean, I've got Prime here, and he doesn't have any of that on him. So if they do another Prime or a single release Soundwave, I'll be a little surprised by that. But yeah, and then we got the core class. Back to the idea of doing. Or sorry, no, this is Studio Series. Core class Studio Series Starscream in the Bumblebee movie Tetrajet mold. Or mode. We got a core class Studio Series Frenzy, which is the same thing as this is from Bumblebee, the concept art. So the same thing as Rumble, except now he's black and gray and red. So those were kind of the mainline ones that we saw come out. We talked about Kit. We talked about Cup and the Sergeant Slaughter. We got a new.
Didn't talk about Ruck. There's the Amazon stuff.
Yeah, the
Amazon stuff we didn't talk about.
Right.
Which we've seen, leaks of those toys, and I mean, I was excited from jump on the leaks of those, and the official pictures don't disappoint at all.
So
of what?
Like,
what?
Ruckus and Bludgeon.
There we go. Yes. So we didn't mention it.
Oh, sorry.
So Ruckus kind of surprises me a little bit because I thought he was just going to be a repaint of Beachcomber, but he is quite a bit different.
Yeah. Pleasantly surprised to see how much retooling there is on that.
Yep.
I can't believe he actually has the Trigger Con stuff, and none of the other guys do. It's like, what'd you do that for?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, now you need to redo those other two. Like, good God, guys. Come on.
I mean, the truck guy kind of had it, but not fully.
That toy is awful. That's unacceptable for who it's supposed to be.
And
I
even
kind of
the
like,
new Bludgeon though looks freaking fantastic.
yeah, I like Noodle Face. It's great.
Yeah. Noodle Jaw.
They could have remolded those like guns that go on the back of him to be the flags, to be that like old samurai looking weathered flag, but I think they just wasn't worth the squeeze. But that's not the only Amazon exclusive. There is a 15th anniversary of our favorite movie, Revenge of the Fallen. And this is the Autobot set. So if there is, and it's sold out on Pulse, by the way. All the Amazon stuff is sold out on Pulse. So believe it or not, people want this. And it is Jetfire and Optimus and the motorcycle girls.
That feels like such a lame, like, hey, we've got some extra budget in this set. Who should we throw in? We'll throw in the motorcycle girls. Just, I don't know. I'm not saying the motorcycle girls or girl Transformers are lame. Just, those are some of my least favorite Bayformers of all time. And so even those Studio Series toys are just kind of like, eh. But yeah, you definitely have the two tentpoles of that set in Jetfire and Optimus, and they combine, and it's pretty awesome.
All I can tell that is different, because if you remember the Autobot set all had unique decos. It was good. The Decepticon set for the first movie was just like, oh, here's the old toys, like exactly as they came, which totally sucks. I don't know why they do that, but it looks like these are straight up the old toys, except Optimus. This is 32 Optimus, and it has the swords instead of the gun. So that's just a weird, it's not the same slightly.
So I think that's all that we got in terms of like actual physical reveals. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I know. Didn't some other like pins and certain anniversary things drop on Pulse too? I know that, like, I'm not as into that, but I know Christian picked up a lot
Like
of that.
ingots and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Got dropped. We got in terms of like kind of Transformers tie-in stuff. We got Converse doing a line of Transformer shoes. Your mileage may vary on how much you would like those. So we did get some other announcements out of this. But in terms of just like toys and Hasbro toys, that's pretty much what we got from Hasbro. Were there any other companies? Who did I skip?
This is a big one, so we needed to talk about this. The 40th anniversary retro Transformers the movie G1 Optimus Prime that's going to be at Walmart. That looks awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Comes with a trailer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this. I hope. Actually, this looks like the best trailer we've ever had, because it's actually painted to look like the cartoon. I hope this is the final G1 Optimus Prime reissue.
It won't be.
I think it will.
I think you're wrong, but okay.
Well, are we going to make a lighthouse bet on this? End our friendship over it?
I mean, again, we're more work associates than friends. But,
sure.
No, I'm not going to bet on something like this. I only bet on the White Sox blowing a lead. But I mean, it is a nice looking one. I don't have any desire to get it because I've got my G1 Prime. I've not bought any of the reissues of the G1 Prime. But if you're someone who doesn't have a G1 Prime or feels like your G1 Prime needs an upgrade, this is a really nice toy. I always feel like with these reissues, I want someone else to get them first so I can like hold it and feel it and kind of like see how it feels in my hands, right? Because it needs to feel right for me for it to be right. And again, that's just from decades of playing with my original G1 Optimus.
Well, I've played with them all, I played with all the reissues up to this. I have the 40th anniversary Soundwave. It's amazing. This is going to be just as good, if not better. And this is a great way to kill this mold for all time. Please. Because they should all be, the reason being, they should all be missing link from here on out. Like, just make the better toy.
Right.
Use the better toy.
So we got pipelines, which also, Lucas, to your point earlier, like the pipeline stuff is like sometimes like in these reveals, like the pipeline is where I get most excited because that's where we either get confirmation of something that was on a leak list or we see something that wasn't even on a leak list. And this pipeline reveal wasn't even that. This pipeline reveal was like, here's old toys.
Right. I mean, I think it's cool, repaints. I guess, if people didn't get the exclusives, but, you know, I guess from that standpoint it's good, but I don't know.
New packaging.
Yeah. They're going to get a new Tarn, a Tarn in new packaging, a Cosmos in new packaging. I'm blanking on some of the others right now. I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good, though, that they're actually trying to get some of these figures in people's hands, and, you know, we don't have to buy everything. Like, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I've had a few Transformers orders go through here in July. So I'm not sad to see that, you know, some of the upcoming stuff I already have and I don't have to worry about buying again. So.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a metric fuck ton. Right. So what's, you know, we're getting a reissue of G1 Origin Bumblebee. We're getting a reissue of.
Oh, that's what the Bumblebee was, because I was like, what is the Bumblebee? Other than that, I was.
No, it's the Target buzzworthy Bumblebee that goes inside Wheeljack. So it's just like, hey, those of you who are late to the show here and you got the Wheeljack and you want the Bumblebee to go inside of them, here you go. Here's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be like all the rods. That'll be interesting to see if he comes with all the same accessories, because that buzzworthy Ordnance toy did come with a lot of accessories with the jetpack, the gun, the rods, the Energon rods. We're getting the War for Cybertron Ramjets reissue. So the Conehead reissue, I think that'll be all of the Coneheads. No, Thrust. Have they reissued Thrust yet? Because that was a Target exclusive. So that still is to come. Victory Galaxy Shuttle will be getting reissued. So that was a Walmart exclusive, in the Velocitron, kind of like Cosmos, that we're getting a new one of that.
Galaxy Shuttle was pretty rare, wasn't it? Like when it came out, like it was somewhat hard to find.
If you didn't live in Canada.
I don't think Walmart like actually stocked it. Like somehow I got it from Walmart online. They actually fulfilled my order, but
yeah, I don't know too many people who found it physically. Yeah, you kind of had to be quick on the trigger on Walmart.com to get one of them.
Yeah, it was online only. It wasn't at the stores in America, only in Canada.
Right.
And then for repaints that are kind of new, we've got a G2 breakdown. So we're slowly filling out that G2 Menosaurus Stunticon lineup. We've got Overcharge, the repaint of Blitzwing and that kind of blue and green deco.
That one
is what he is. And then let me double. Oh yeah, an Armada Wheeljack. So we got the Shattered Glass Sideswipe, and now we're going to get the Armada Wheeljack. And again, I don't know if we're going to get the Minicon to go with them, the Windsweeper Minicon. But we'll get the more Unicron Trilogy accurate colors with that. And then we have not talked about another big green construction themed elephant in the room this weekend that we didn't see but was officially announced.
Yeah, the Devastator, they let the cat out of the bag that it's actually I mean, I don't know why it matters. You have to hear it from the horse's mouth. It's like it was always coming. So,
Yeah.
but they did give us a few details about it. The biggest, most alarming one is that the Commander for next year, the Commander size toy, is going to be 2 of the Constructicons. So you're going to have to buy that. And it sounds like it's going to have all the combiner parts because it's actually 2 figures. It's like hook and long haul at a Commander price point, which is just sort of weird, but whatever. It's a way to do it.
I mean, it makes sense that the 2 torso components will be packaged together. Yeah. I mean, that's the downside with some of like the first set of pipeline reveals was all. I'm sorry. So these were kind of announced in like different waves or different phases throughout the convention. That's why like I forgot about Dino King, because like Dino King was announced at a Hasbro breakfast. And it's just weird when some of this stuff gets talked about. So like you had all these pipeline reveals during a Pulse live stream, but then during the actual panel is when they talked about Devastator. So yeah, it's just such a staggered thing in terms of news coming out over the weekend for this. So like all of those like reissues or repaints, like, oh, I know what this is going to look like because I have this toy, or I have this toy in a different color. But Devastator is still early on, where that's just pure pipeline in terms of like here's an image on the screen of a G1 Devastator cartoon, and we'll tell you like how they're coming out and all that. That's all kind of the data that we got.
Yeah, it's really hard to envision what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very, very curious. I hope it's cool.
It'll be interesting too. Like, will this be like Raiden, where they're gonna like, here's the components and here's gonna be the shadowy silhouette of what the full combiner looks like, or are they gonna like right out of the gate show you here's what the fully assembled thing's gonna look like, and feel confident in buying all the limbs one by one?
They might show the whole thing. I mean, supposedly the release it all in 2025 instead of like instead of the movie version, which was like over the course of a year and a half or 2 years. And it was almost like they pretended it didn't combine. Like they never made a big deal about the final thing. It just was like, oh yeah, we're gonna release Rampage. Yeah. So hopefully this is only 6. This isn't 9 toys. So maybe this time they can be a little more. They can focus on the combined mode a little more this time, I guess.
Yeah. At least in terms of the marketing. I mean, focus in terms of the engineering and like build of the Combiner Studio Series Devastator was, I've not heard anyone say, bad things about it. So they did a good job of making and designing it, but just the marketing behind it seemed like it fell short. So this brings us to the point that I was kind of teasing earlier is during COVID, we didn't have San Diego Comic-Con. So what did Pulse do? They made their online thing. They made PulseCon. And we've got PulseCon coming in September. They kind of officially announced that. And they showed us PulseCon exclusives. Like the Dino King will be a PulseCon exclusive. So, for those of us that felt sort of meh about what was shown here, I think that might be intentional that Hasbro has this other kind of tentpole event in the calendar of PulseCon coming up in about 6 to 8 weeks. So that's interesting to see how the transition has gone from the actual physical conventions being tentpoles to COVID happening and we had to go virtual convention to now the physical conventions are back, and how do you intermix all of that? And it seems like they're maybe putting still a lot of emphasis on their own thing with PulseCon.
Well, wouldn't you, if you had to decide between flying 20 people across the country, putting them up for a week, hiring people locally to set up your booth that's like also costing you probably around $500,000?
But the thing is, they did that. I mean, Hasbro did all of that. They went through, and maybe because we got the Transformers 1 coming out, they wanted to still have that presence and do the more focus on Transformers 1. Right. But but we got that.
Yeah, all that stuff happened. But like, I wonder if they actually make more money just doing their own marketed, branded, like, hey, go to our website and buy this stuff. We're gonna keep you entertained for a day and keep you on our website and keep you buying stuff all day. Just us and no distractions. I don't know if the audience is like multitudes larger over there, so it ends up like they actually make more money that way with all the expenses, or if this like just blows away. Like effort level is much lower and return is way better. I don't know. You probably just do all the things. Why wouldn't Hasbro is not choosing one over the other. They are just releasing products specifically for each event.
Yeah, it's just interesting in terms of like news timetable. So what did we get this weekend? What were some of like the big things they announced this weekend? It's like, okay, the things that have crossover appeal, like literally the crossover kit and literally the crossover new G.I. Joe thing.
It's not kit. Don't forget.
Agent Knight.
Stop calling it kit. I get offended.
Anyways. So yeah, they announced the stuff this weekend that did have more of a mass audience appeal than what you might get for like, hey, we're going to do a reissue of DevCon.
Right. Well,
the Death's Head seems like something that maybe should have been at PulseCon instead of
right. But since it was an
Amazon,
Amazon
a Marvel Legend, so that's sort of
yeah.
I forget if they said the PulseCon. You're right, because the PulseCon Marvel Legend is king in like a fancy chair and extra faces, so that does feel more like I don't know. But again, they had the crossover toy between the Transformers and Marvel at San Diego, and San Diego seems to be about grabbing as many audiences as possible.
Honestly, I think the relevancy of like the place the product is released is like moot. It depends on when it can get created and when it's available. Oh, that one, we can do that for San Diego.
Right.
Oh, this one we can do for PulseCon. Oh, this one we're just going to release on a regular Tuesday because that's when it shows up at the warehouse.
One thing I mentioned too is they, like you're saying about how much news gets kind of like almost like sucked up at San Diego, whereas like PulseCon can be all about Hasbro. I think that's the other thing too is that I'm sure they probably like doing both because one they can appeal to everybody, and then the other one it's like a lot of the fans are in the know that'll kind of tune into the PulseCon stuff. So yeah. Well, and then I can't remember New York Comic Con. Did they do anything for that? Like the last couple of years, or are they kind of, is PulseCon kind of like replacing that?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I know PulseCon was kind of positioned originally sort of in between it. If anything, PulseCon was almost more towards New York Comic Con timeframe, because there's a lot of times PulseCon was the same weekend as TFCon, which is end of October. Like we were sitting there like, oh guys, we got to stop set up for TFCon, stop setting up your booth and grab your phone while we watch the live stream and like jump on the pre-orders. So, or it's like, you could tell like it was like the Saturday of TFCon, all of a sudden everyone stopped what they were doing and jumped on their phones to get on pre-orders.
Historically, they were using New York as a place to like tease or reveal the Titan for a while.
Yeah.
They were doing that repeatedly. That was also where they revealed the Siege Shockwave for the first time, which that was really awesome. Now that they've still beaten that into the ground. I think it's kind of superfluous as to what is sold where. It just happens to be like, hey, we think this is going to be a fan-centric, like exclusive product. Let's sell it at the next upcoming one that makes sense.
Again, I think the ones that are more just specifically like the deep cuts for the fans is more PulseCon focused, and the stuff that's got a little bit more mass appeal gets San Diego. The G.I. Joe one, it references the 80s G.I. Joe movie. That was the San Diego G.I. Joe classified toy, was Cobra Commander turning into the snake, which is direct from the G.I. Joe, cartoon movie back in the day. The Marvel Legends was a little more of a deep cut in terms of Death's Head, but then again, it also has the double appeal. For Transformers, you had the Transformers 1 tie-in with Optimus and Megatron. Star Wars, you had Darth Maul. So I don't know. You can make arguments, in a lot of different directions, but it does, like the G.I. Joe classified coming out for PulseCon is a deep cut guy. It was a G.I. Joe guy that you had to get from like collecting cereal box proofs of purchases back in the day. So again, you're talking kind of deep cut with that. Dino King feels like a deep cut. Dino King is a deep cut. Dino King is not on the same level as Optimus Prime and Megatron for your average Transformers fan. So Dino King's a deep cut. So yeah, again, I go back to my argument that for the most part, San Diego Comic-Con is the big, hey, look at this, look at the crossover, look at the nostalgia, big tentpole thing. PulseCon is like, here you go, you rabid addicts. Here's another component to your collection that you haven't been able to pick up.
I do want to mention book club this week.
Do you though? Do you want to mention it?
Yes, Sunday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central on the TF Talk Discord. We're going to be talking Transformers 42 and Wars in number 4. So that's the IDW.
That was another thing. Yeah.
Apparently, it was not mentioned at San Diego Comic-Con, but apparently there's some little people. Transformers little people.
He's just a little guy.
That looks pretty cool, honestly. Where'd you get that at? Target?
That guy in a little coat. This is from Target. Yeah, these are going to be at Target.
That's cool.
So are they?
I don't think they're that cool, but they're funny.
Another Mattel Transformer crossover toy is Mattel Little People. We've got.
That's a big thing that happened.
Yeah, that's
Mattel.
A whole other episode.
Yeah, it probably is, but
because there's nothing really concrete on that, right?
Yeah.
There isn't till there is, right? That's how it always is.
Yeah.
Then we wait till there is.
So.
Was it Starscream, Megatron, Bumblebee, and Optimus?
Or you can be the bull.
Oh, Soundwave.
With his little buddy here.
Laserbeak.
Laser balls.
Here, all you guys name Wave. Cool. Do all you guys have Wave in part of your name?
I can't believe Starscream is Steve Buscemi. I bet Frank is rolling in his not grave. What a weird string of events.
It's the Cameron Diaz thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like offended or like think it shouldn't be him. I'm interested to see how it goes.
Yeah.
By the way, if you see this, you should probably pick it up. Otherwise, you're not gonna get it.
The Bumblebee Transformers 1 toy. I'll wait for the Studio Series on that one.
I don't think there is going to be a Studio Series one.
I thought you said there will be.
No. When did I say that?
I don't know. You're like texting the other day. I don't read everything you text me.
No, I was talking about that one. Okay. So like, this is just extra time at the end of the show. Don't buy this. Don't buy this one. Don't buy the mainline Optimus. It is awful.
Oop.
Studio Series 1, very good. Very good. This, I would say, I don't know if it's on par, but like I don't know how much better it could be. It's really it's quality. And plus, if you take you can see his little transforming cog if you take off his chest.
And for those of you who are just doing audio only or not looking at your screen as you're listening to this, he is holding up the Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Bumblebee. And he was holding up the Deluxe Class Transformers 1 Optimus, which is a pooptacular toy.
Just comparatively, it's just so bad. But yeah, this is the Transformers 1 B127, if you will. And it is very good. I highly recommend it. So, and who else
Sentinel
got?
Prime. Any thoughts on Sentinel Prime?
Didn't open him, but
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. But same thing with Alva Triumph. But this Comet Grimlock, I do like this. It's good.
Swords ain't right. No, you're not
Nice.
supposed to have the niche in the sword.
Whatever.
Slag sword is supposed to have some more flares to it on the hilt.
Yeah, that's the biggest sin to me, is that it doesn't have the pirate, like the pirate swashbuckling curly things.
Yeah, Sludge's sword is spot on. I think Sludge, Swoop, and Snarl all have spot on swords. Grimlock and Slag get a little short shifted there. Lucas, should people like this podcast and YouTube show?
I don't know.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe.
All right. Should they comment and ask us questions in the comments?
Absolutely. Sure.
If they feel like we wasted 103 minutes of their time, should they put that in the comments?
They should, but I mean, I can't imagine they'd still be listening at this point if they thought it was a waste of time. I mean, I guess it is a waste of time, but that
we will take hate views and like views all the same. It still counts as views. So if you're hate watching us, just thank you.
Yes,
How about engagement?
So, all right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you to everyone in the chat that participated, and we will see everyone next week.
See you.